In a country known for its wealth and prosperity, it's hard to believe that some states are struggling to make ends meet. From rundown neighborhoods to broken systems, these states paint a stark picture of poverty in the land of opportunity. The gap between the rich and the poor is wide, and the reality of life in these areas is often far from the American dream. What forces have led these places into such hardship? What stories lie behind the statistics? On number 10, we have South Carolina. South Carolina also has a poverty rate of 13.5%, with significant economic disparities between urban and rural areas. The state has a diverse economy, but many residents in rural areas face economic challenges and limited access to opportunities. The median household income in South Carolina is about $59,318. The state has a high child poverty rate, with about 22% of children living in poverty. Educational attainment is relatively low, with only 27.1% of adults holding a bachelor's degree or higher. South Carolina also struggles with high rates of obesity, diabetes, and other chronic health conditions, which are often exacerbated by poverty and limited access to healthcare services. On number 9 comes Tennessee. Tennessee has a poverty rate of 13.5%, influenced by a variety of economic and social factors. The state has a diverse economy, but many residents still face economic challenges, particularly in rural areas. The decline of traditional industries such as manufacturing has left many without stable employment opportunities. The median household income in Tennessee is approximately $59,695. The state has a high rate of poverty among children, with about 22% living below the poverty line. Educational attainment is relatively low, with only 25.3% of adults holding a bachelor's degree or higher. Tennessee also faces significant health challenges, including high rates of obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases, which are often linked to economic hardship and limited access to health care. On number 8, we will discuss Oklahoma. Oklahoma has a poverty rate of 14.5%, with many of its residents living in rural areas that have limited access to economic opportunities. The state's economy has traditionally been based on agriculture and oil, but fluctuations in these industries have led to economic instability for many residents. The median household income in Oklahoma is about $55,126. The state has a high child poverty rate, with about 22% of children living in poverty. Educational attainment is low, with only 24.2% of adults holding a bachelor's degree or higher. Oklahoma also struggles with high rates of obesity, diabetes, and other chronic health conditions, which are often exacerbated by poverty and limited access to healthcare services. On number 7 is Alabama. Alabama's poverty rate is 15.0%, influenced by a range of economic and social factors. The state has a large rural population and a history of economic reliance on industries such as agriculture, textiles, and manufacturing, many of which have declined in recent years. Economic development has been uneven, with significant disparities between urban and rural areas. The median household income in Alabama is approximately $53,113. The state has a high rate of poverty among children, with about 24% living below the poverty line. Educational attainment is relatively low, with only 24.5% of adults holding a bachelor's degree or higher. Alabama also faces significant health challenges, including high rates of obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases, which are often linked to economic hardship and limited access to health care. On number 6 comes Arkansas. Arkansas has a poverty rate of 15.3%, with many of its residents living in rural areas that have limited access to economic opportunities. The state's economy has traditionally been based on agriculture, particularly poultry and rice farming, but these industries have not provided the same level of economic growth as more diversified economies. The median household income in Arkansas is about $50,540, one of the lowest in the nation. The state has a high child poverty rate, with 21.7% of children living in poverty. Educational attainment is low, with only 24.9% of adults holding a bachelor's degree or higher. Arkansas also struggles with high rates of obesity, diabetes, and other chronic health conditions, which are often exacerbated by poverty and limited access to healthcare services. On number 5, we have Kentucky. Kentucky has a poverty rate of 15.9%, influenced by a variety of economic and social factors. The The state has traditionally relied on industries such as coal mining, agriculture, and manufacturing, many of which have experienced significant declines. The transition to a more diversified economy has been slow, leaving many residents without stable employment opportunities. The median household income in Kentucky is approximately $55,573. The state has a high rate of poverty among children, with about 24% living below the poverty line. Educational attainment is relatively low, with only 23.6% of adults holding a bachelor's degree or higher. Kentucky also faces significant health challenges, including high rates of smoking, obesity, and cardiovascular diseases, which are often linked to economic hardship and limited access to health care. On number 4, we will talk about West Virginia. West Virginia's poverty rate stands at 17.0%, largely due to the decline of the coal industry, which has historically been the backbone of the state's economy. The loss of coal jobs has led to high unemployment rates and economic stagnation in many communities. Additionally, the state's mountainous terrain and rural nature pose challenges for economic development and access to services. The median household income in West Virginia is around $51,615. Educational attainment is low, with only 23.1% of adults holding a bachelor's degree or higher, the lowest in the nation. The state also has the second lowest life expectancy in the country at 74.5 years. West Virginia faces significant public health challenges, including high rates of opioid addiction and related health issues, which further strain the state's economy and healthcare system. Next on number 3 is New Mexico. New Mexico has a poverty rate of 18.1%, driven by a combination of economic, social, and geographic factors. The state has a diverse cultural heritage but struggles with economic disparities. The decline of traditional industries such as mining and agriculture has left many residents without stable employment opportunities. Additionally, the state's large rural population faces challenges in accessing quality education and healthcare. The median household income in New Mexico is approximately $50,820. The state has the highest child poverty rate in the country, with about 25% of children living in poverty. New Mexico's education system is often ranked among the worst in the nation, with a high school graduation rate of only 73.9%. The state also suffers from high rates of substance abuse, mental health issues, and chronic diseases, further complicating efforts to reduce poverty and improve the quality of life for its residents. On number 2 comes Louisiana. Louisiana has a poverty rate of 18.6%, making it the second poorest state in the nation. The state's economy has been significantly impacted by fluctuations in the oil and gas industry, which has historically been a major economic driver. Despite its rich natural resources, Louisiana struggles with high unemployment rates and a lack of economic diversification. The median household income in Louisiana is about $50,935, and the state has a high rate of childhood poverty, with nearly 27% of children living below the poverty line. Educational attainment is relatively low, with 86.9% of residents having a high school education and only 27.2% holding a bachelor's degree or higher. Louisiana also faces significant health challenges, including high rates of obesity, heart disease, and poor mental health outcomes, which are often linked to economic instability and limited access to healthcare services. Lastly, on number 1, we will discuss Mississippi. Mississippi remains the poorest state in the United States, with a poverty rate of 19.3%. The state's economic struggles are deeply rooted in its history and socio-economic structure. Mississippi has consistently faced challenges related to unemployment, low educational attainment, and inadequate access to healthcare. The state's economy has historically relied on agriculture, particularly cotton, which has not provided the same level of economic stability and growth seen in more diversified economies. The median household income in Mississippi is approximately $44,960, the lowest in the country. Educational attainment levels are among the lowest, with only about 85.3% of adults having a high school diploma and a mere 22% holding a bachelor's degree or higher. This educational deficit limits residents' opportunities for well-paying jobs and upward mobility. Moreover, the state's healthcare system struggles with high rates of obesity, diabetes, and other chronic conditions, further exacerbating the economic hardships faced by its residents. These states face unique challenges, but their communities continue to push forward despite the odds. The stark contrast between the wealth of the nation and the poverty in these areas raises important questions. What can be done to bridge this gap? How can policies be shaped to lift these communities out of poverty? And what role do we all play in making sure everyone has a fair shot at the American dream? Do let us know about your thoughts in the comment section.